Pope slept well all night as he continues hospital treatment. Vatican sources suggest his condition is improving, but he remains critical with double pneumonia and early kidney failure. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
From the studios of Extreme Sports in Hastings, Nebraska, we present Huddle Up, a great way to start your day with all the news, weather, and sports you need, interesting interviews, and friendly conversation from two guys that go together like Scooby and Shaggy, Mike Will and Tyson Havronic.
Well, good morning, everyone. Off and rolling again. It's a Tuesday, the 25th day of February for 2025, and welcome to Huddle Up on Extreme Sports. Going to be talking about the Nebraska men's basketball team. They lost a heartbreaker last night to Michigan at Pinnacle Bank Arena, 49-46. Be telling you about that coming up. The Nebraska volleyball team will take part in the 2025 AVCA First Serve Showcase. It'll be held this year at Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln in the latter part of August. We'll have details on that coming up as well. Season is over for the Hastings High girls basketball team. They fought hard last night but dropped a 56-48 decision to McCook in the semifinals of the B7 sub-district basketball tournament in Grand Island. A lot of boys sub-district tournament action got underway last night. Hastings St. Cecilia and Adams Central will be on the floor tonight in sub-district play. And the new AP college basketball polls are up for both the men and the women. So we'll have all that and more coming up here during the next hour on Extreme Sports as we welcome in Tyson Havronic from the Western Studios. Good morning.
And a good morning to you, Mike. Yeah, you could call it two different ways. Offensive, some woes last night, or was it a great defensive performance played by both teams? A low-scoring affair at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and a game certainly worthy of the very close and tight margin that was put out by the Vegas bookmakers. So saw a really good matchup and a couple opportunities late to win it. The looks you want, man. Two really good looks from three, a really good drawn-up play with 2 seconds left to go that provided an open look, but Nebraska just couldn't put them away last night, couldn't find the shots to fall, and ultimately fall to Michigan, and that's kind of the top stories we wake up and get going here this morning. But yeah, really impressed with the way we fought and showed a lot of character, but yeah, just couldn't get the shots to drop, man.
49-46 was the final score last night. Neither team shot the ball real well. Nebraska 26% from the floor. Michigan shot 29.5%. Again, we got some comments coming up from Husker head coach Fred Hoiberg and also Michigan head coach Dusty May about the ball game last night. The Huskers lose. I saw this morning with the loss, that drops Nebraska's chances of making the NCAA tournament by 12%. So things are once again getting iffy for Nebraska. They're 17-11 on the season, 7-10 in the conference. They drop a game last night that was pretty important for their tournament hopes, and now I don't know. We got 3 games left.
Mm-hmm.
Got Minnesota coming in on Saturday for a ball game, and then Huskers with 2 more games, and then we got the Big Ten Conference Tournament, maybe to build a resume to get into the big dance. But again, it was a blow last night. Our chances of making the tournament dropped by 12% after the loss last night.
Because was it 17-10 now, or?
Yep, 17-11.
17-11. I'm gonna need 3 down the stretch. I always thought like the magic number was 20. And that gave you kind of a good idea that you were a tournament caliber team. I don't know if that magic number 20 still sticks in today's age of 68 teams in the college basketball tournament. But going back to the roots, you were always kind of told, hey, your magic number throughout the course of a season is 20 wins. So pick me 3 up, and I think we're the last 4 in. Go on a little bit of a run, I think we're pretty safe.
I haven't seen the bracketologist come out with their latest rankings yet, but I'm sure we're going to be back down in the bubble teams.
Bubble category, yeah. Women, that's where they're at right now. If I saw their latest projections, they are scheduled to be the last four buys, or the last four play-in games. So potential to play in, I think, is what I saw.
That's probably about accurate.
Scheduled to be one of those teams.
Yeah, so both the Nebraska basketball teams, they've got some work to do here.
Yeah,
next couple of weeks.
And let's keep in mind the projections and where you're placed at in terms of all these bracketologists, the ones that go through all the formulas and have things figured out. They're only based on if you continue to play winning basketball. So it's not like, we're the last four in, we're safe, and you could just stop. You have to continue to win those games. Like I said, I think 3 of the next 4 before you get into conference tournament time. I think that's a realistic ask, and then maybe pick up a couple in conference, make a little bit of noise, make a little bit of traction. Problem is, when you look at the top seeds, and we could be slated into a spot where you're in a whole mix of teams now that have, I think, that are currently in the standings from like 6th to 11th. There's just this the rest of them.
Yeah, there's a log jam there. Yeah,
and so you don't have a lot of wiggle room. And if you place yourself on the side where you're going up against the 1 seed in the very next round, should you pick up a win? And then you got the 1 seed in the conference tournament, but you'd also look at 1 through 4, man. Like, who do you want? Purdue, Michigan State. I don't want any part of those guys. So you gotta pick up a win, and you gotta maybe get one upset in there. But right. 20 is the magic number, in my opinion.
So Huskers have some work to do, sitting at 17-11 in the season. The Nebraska volleyball team, they're going to take part in the 2025 AVCA First Serve Showcase. It's going to be held at Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln this year. Remember last year they played at the Yum Center. In Louisville, Kentucky. Well, this year it's going to be in Lincoln at PBA. It's going to be August 22nd through the 24th. Then they're going to play 2 more games on that following Monday up in Sioux Falls at the Pentagon up there. The Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So they'll play a majority of the matches at PBA, and they'll play 2 games on that following Monday at the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls. The Huskers will play Pittsburgh on Friday, August 22nd, and Stanford on Sunday, August 24th. The times are... the exact games that be played that day are going to be determined at a later date, so tickets are not on sale yet, but you might want to mark that on your calendar if you're a volleyball fan. August 22nd to the 24th, PBA for the AVCA First Serve Showcase. Danny Busboom Kelly will get her debut as the Husker head coach at that event, so I'm sure that'll be a massive show as far as people are concerned and attendance, and we'll smash records because PBA is much bigger than the Bob Devaney Sports Center.
Yeah, it's wild, and it's a complete mirror image, and I'll get to the thoughts on the schedule in a second. Do have a comment from I believe that's IT on Twitch with us today. If Nebraska has to play in a play-in game and they win, does that count as an NCAA tournament win since they've never won an NCAA tournament game? Yes. Because 68 teams now in the field, if you win a play-in game, that does count as a actual tournament win. That is, the play-in game is actually the official quote-unquote opening round. So yeah, it would count.
I don't consider that as the start of the tournament usually, but it is.
It is. It's like week 0, right? In college football, it's still the official start of the college football season, even though it's labeled weird.
I hope we don't get down to that level, because just last week we were firmly entrenched as a number 10 seed.
Sure.
In fact, I saw some brackets that had us as a number 8 seed. So I hope we don't stoop that far. They have to play the play-in game, but hell, it could happen.
Well, except for some of the play-in games are 11 seeds.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it's all 16s that go into the play-in games. They've got a mix of two 16-seeded teams and then two 11-seeded teams from your bigger conferences to try to push more teams from these power conferences in. And then they get a matchup against kind of one of those middle-of-the-road conferences, so to speak. And so, you know, you're playing for like a matchup with 6 and 11. So it wouldn't surprise me if we go from like a 9 to an 11, and that 11 puts us in a spot where we got to have a play-in game. But back to the schedule. This is wild. And it shows you, number one, how dominant our volleyball program is on the national stage. Because you have an athletic director that has the confidence and you have a coach that has the confidence to be scheduling when you're already playing in the best volleyball conference in America, in the Big Ten. Then you have the confidence to schedule two juggernauts right now. Stanford has, for years, been towards the top of the pinnacle of volleyball. And then you have scheduled Pitt, who ran as the number one all of last year until they got to the Final Four stage where Nebraska and Pitt, the nation's number one and number two teams, both bowed out. And now you've scheduled Pitt and Stanford in an opening weekend of just tremendously good volleyball programs. Where on the football side of things, you had a team that actually pulled out from a non-conference game because they don't matter anymore. And a lot of teams are figuring out with the expansion of with the playoffs and a grueling conference season and already getting an automatic qualifier as a conference champion without any change to the current structure of the college football playoff formula. You got schools like Nebraska that are saying, why the hell would we want to play Tennessee and dampen our opportunity to go to the college football playoff when we got to gear up for a grueling conference season? The two different clashes in mentality right now are fascinating to me.
Well, I think that's the difference in the sports right now. It doesn't matter that Nebraska loses a volleyball game in August. It doesn't matter. It does at football. Mm-hmm. It does at football when you lose early in the season to a Tennessee. But in volleyball, it doesn't really matter that you lose a game or two early. You'd like to win those games, but it doesn't matter.
No. And you know, you can't really lose late, but you can still do work through the conference tournament time. You know, back in when we were growing up watching college football, like the old mentality was you just can't lose late. You can't lose late. You can't lose at all now. You got to make a good run. You got to make a good run through your conference title game. Get that automatic berth. But you're seeing more and more schools, especially here in the first 4 or 5 weeks, they're going to be doing more tune-up games to get ready for a grueling conference schedule. I'm mixed about the whole pulling out of the Tennessee matchup because on one hand, you know, as a high school recruit, I want to see these two teams collide. I want to see get national exposure on a big-time matchup and put Nebraska on the big-time stage against some of these powerhouse non-conference, especially teams from the SEC.
But you got to remember,
at the same time, it doesn't make no sense.
You got to remember that was not the reason that Troy Dannon pulled out of the Tennessee game. That was not the reason. It was because Nebraska is going to have stadium expansion going on. I think it was in 2027, and they wanted more home games the previous year to offset the money they were going to lose because of the stadium expansion. He didn't pull out of the Tennessee game because of the college football playoff. He mentioned the expansion of the stadium, and Nebraska wanted to have 8 home games in 1 year. I think it was 2027 or something. They wanted 8 home games, so they pulled out of the Tennessee game to schedule a couple more lesser-known opponents to come in for 8 home games so we get the revenue.
Let's be realistic. That's a convenient way to spin it.
That's what he said, though. He didn't even mention the college football playoff.
That's a convenient way to spin it.
I'm just presenting the facts. That's what we do on this show. We're presenting the facts.
And sometimes we make opinion based on those facts.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, we know what he was talking about, but yeah, you're not pulling a wool over our eyes.
No.
We know what the hell you were talking about, but the real excuse he used was that we wanted to have a bunch of home games to offset the money we're going to lose on the stadium expansion because some of the seats were not going to be available.
Yeah,
that's what he
convenient.
said. That was convenient. Oh, God. All right, what else we got going? We had sub-district basketball last night. Hastings High, their season is over. Tigers probably played their best game of the year last night. They were 4-17 coming into the ball game last night against McCook. Hastings High had a bad night as far as turnovers were concerned. How about 33 of them in the ball game last night against McCook, but we still had a chance to win the game. Tigers cut the lead to 4 in the fourth quarter, but we ended up losing the game last night 56-48. So the Hastings High season is over. They finish at 4-18. McCook will move on. They'll face Northwest in the finals tonight. The Vikings won the other game played last night over Lexington, 71-35. So it'll be McCook and Northwest tonight at the Rosencrantz Gym beginning at 6. Hastings High, their season is over. In fact, all three girls teams now in the city of Hastings, their seasons are over. St. Cecilia, Adams Central, Hastings High, all knocked out of sub-district play. So we'll roll on. We'll worry about the boys. And the boys sub-district tournaments are up and rolling. We'll have Hastings St. Cecilia playing tonight. The Hawks, the number one seed.
That's right.
Number one seed in that D1-4 sub-district tournament at the Chapman Gym, despite their record. They're the number one seed. They're going to play Palmer tonight. Beginning
Battle-tested Hawks.
Oh, God.
The battle-tested
Oh,
Hawks.
they are. They've been playing C1 and C2 teams, and now they're in D1 officially. So just the way things came out, they get the number one seed in the D1-4 sub-district tournament. They'll play the fourth seed tonight, Palmer, beginning at 5:30. Adams Central, meanwhile, going to play in Holdridge. They'll play Kearney Catholic tonight in the semifinals of the C1-8 sub-district tournament. Those two teams played in the final game of the regular season last week, and Adams Central picked up a convincing win, so they'll play again tonight. The Stars and the Patriots will have the action here tonight on Extreme Sports, beginning with the pregame show at about 7:15. It'll be a 7:30 tip-off tonight in Holdridge.
NFL notes. You reading anything into that report out of the ESPN radio in Kansas City, 96.5 The Fan? Chiefs leaning towards a move to Kansas appears to be gaining momentum. Apparently, Kansas City, Kansas has this like Legends sports complex that they are going to be putting together and trying to attract the Chiefs out of Arrowhead. You read anything into that?
Well, yeah, that's been going on for the past couple of years.
Because they want to get off the interstate, right?
I don't know what their mission is. Why would you want to get off the interstate?
Because they wanted from what I understand, at least on the baseball side, the Royals wanted a downtown stadium, and the Kansas City voters shot it down.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you can continue to play on the interstate at the K. And so that's kind of caused a little bit of ruckus. And in this time, this sports complex was getting put together in Kansas City, Kansas, as in an effort to attract those two franchises to come over to Kansas.
I think it's all about money again.
Money, 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 money.
It's all about money, bringing the Chiefs over there, build them a brand new stadium, more lucrative for the Chiefs to move across the river. Going to have a new modern stadium. And it's all about money.
Arrowhead has been a fixture, in the NFL, though. And it's unique. I don't know. New and fancy, money, money, money.
Yep, that's what they've been talking about that for the past couple of years.
Gross.
But like you said, it's starting to gain a little traction again down in Kansas City, so we'll see what happens there. I can't imagine the Chiefs playing anywhere else but Arrowhead. Chime in on some of this stuff if you'd like. 402-834-1330 is our telephone number. If you'd like to give us a call, we'd love to chat with you here on Huddle Up. If you want to drop us a message on all all the social media sites. We're monitoring all of those. We'll get to those. I'd like to make you a part of our show here today. So we've covered a lot of things here in this first segment. So if you'd like to chime in, we appreciate that. Again, thanks for listening to us, whether you're on our website at x-streamsports.com, on your smartphone with our free mobile app, maybe your smart speaker, Roku TV on the app there, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch. Thanks for joining us here this morning. It is 7:19 now on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
News this hour brought to you by the Hastings Federal Credit Union, where since 1946, the Hastings Federal Credit Union has been a part of the Hastings community, and it's community that is at the heart of everything they do. Where you can get from point A to point B and everywhere in between with a low-rate vehicle loan. Whether you're committed to camping or love living the lake life, you can count on the credit union to finance your next big toy. They even do personal loans for life's little curveballs. So with the affordable low rates, convenient repayment options, and a friendly local staff that knows you by name, you can see for yourself what the credit union difference is all about. That's Hastings Federal Credit Union, 707 North Marion Road, or online, hastingsfcu.org. Hastings Federal Credit Union is an equal housing lender. Start off this morning where the Nebraska State Patrol have arrested the suspect in the Friday evening homicide in Harvard. Troopers served an arrest warrant for Toby Gray. Gray currently receiving treatment for the self-inflicted gunshot wound at Bryan Health West Campus in Lincoln. Nebraska State Patrol investigators have determined that Gray entered the home of his previous wife, Heather Gray, and shot her and himself. The two were married, but authorities had learned that Heather Gray was planning a divorce. Meanwhile, over in Broken Bow, they can't catch a break. Last week, it was the cold temperatures and a fire outage at the power plant. Now fires across Custer County, sparking yesterday and remaining active. Fire scenes heading into the night, but are currently under control. Fire crews will continue to monitor and manage the situation to ensure containment. 2 fires had crews on scene through the night, with additional personnel scheduled to return today to continue suppression efforts. Fire departments in Custer County received a much-needed break overnight as neighboring departments, including Grand Island Rural, took over monitoring duties to maintain safety and control. According to the Broken Bow Fire Department, the Lillian Fire, located north of Broken Bow, had an estimated burn of 870 acres as of late yesterday. 2 firefighters were taken to the hospital after their truck rolled during the response. A firefighter transported by Broken Bow Ambulance Service to Melham Medical Center was treated and released. The firefighter transported by Life Flight from North Platte to CHI Good Samaritan Hospital in Kearney remains in stable condition under medical care. No civilian injuries were reported. No evacuations had been ordered at this time. The Sandhills area, however, still needs to be on high alert. A red flag warning will be in effect from noon until 7 for areas west of Kearney and north of Interstate 80, as relative humidity values with temperatures up to 72 degrees and high winds reaching nearly 45 miles per hour out in that direction will lead to the critical fire weather conditions. Any fires that start will likely spread rapidly and be difficult to control. And let's finish over at the state capitol. The Nebraska Legislature's Education Committee heard a proposal yesterday to require the display of the 10 Commandments in Nebraska schools. Senator Dave Merman of Glenville made the proposal that would mandate both public and private institutions to post the commandments in every elementary, middle, and high school building. Merman said the bill is about exposing students to historical wisdom. The bill is modeled after a similar law that passed in Louisiana, but that law currently facing legal challenges. 7:23. We'll swing things back over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's the haps in sports?
Well, the Nebraska men's basketball team lost to Michigan 49-46 last night at PBA. Huskers had 2 chances in the final 10 seconds to win the game, but could not hit a basket. Nebraska shot just 26% for the game, but their defensive effort was almost good enough to pull off the upset. Nebraska held the Wolverines at just 29.5% shooting and forced 14 turnovers in a game that neither team led by more than 6 points the entire game. Bryce Williams had a game-high 26 points for the Huskers, including 18 in the first half. He won over 1,000 points for his career, becoming just the 4th Nebraska player to accomplish the feat in less than 2 seasons. Nebraska is now 17-11 in the season, 7-10 in the conference. They'll play host to Minnesota on Saturday. Tip-off will be at 1. The Nebraska volleyball team will take part in the 2025 AVCA First Serve Showcase at Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln. It'll run from August 22nd through the 24th. The showcase will feature 10 of the nation's top teams. 2 matches will be played on Monday, August 25th at the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Nebraska will play Pittsburgh on Friday, August 22nd, and Stanford on Sunday, August 24th. Other teams competing in the event will be Florida, Creighton, Penn State, Kansas, Vanderbilt, Minnesota, and Texas A&M. Hastings College softball team will be in action today. The Broncos will play at Kansas Wesleyan in a doubleheader that gets underway at 1 this afternoon. Hastings is currently 3-3 on the season. The season is over for the Hastings High girls basketball team. The Tigers fought hard but dropped a 56-48 decision to McCook last night in the semifinals of the B7 Sub-District Tournament in Grand Island. Mackenzie Nolette finished with 27 points for the Tigers. Hastings hit 49% of their field goals in the game, but were hampered by 33 turnovers. The Tigers end the season at 4-18. McCook will play Northwest in the finals tonight at 6. The Vikings beat Lexington in the other game last night, 71-35. In boys sub-district tournament action from last night, Ord beat Broken Bow 48-45. Gothenburg defeated St. Paul 62-40. Heartland knocked off Highline 51-25. Arcadia Loop City blew out Newman Grove 46-28. Twin River beat Superior 64-44. Wilcox-Hildreth defeated Franklin 45-38, and Giltner ran past Harvard 56-24. Tonight, Hastings St. Cecilia will play Palmer in the opening round of the D1-4 Sub-District Tournament at the Chapman Gym. Game time will be at 5:30. Adams Central will play Kearney Catholic in the semifinals of the C1-8 Sub-District Tournament in Holdridge. Tip-off for that game will be at 7:30. We'll have it for you on Extreme Sports, beginning with a pregame show at 7:15 tonight. And Auburn is ranked number 1 for the 7th straight week in the latest AP Men's College Basketball poll. The Tigers are 25-2 on the season. Duke is second, followed by Florida, Houston, and Tennessee. Rounding out the top 10 are Alabama, St. John's, Michigan State, Iowa State, and Texas Tech. Kansas has dropped out of the poll for the first time since February 8th of 2021. And Texas is ranked number 1 in the AP Women's College Basketball poll for the first time in 21 years. UCLA is second, followed by Notre Dame, USC, and UConn. Creighton is in at number 22. That's a check on your sports headlines. 7:27 now on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
Sunny and warm conditions prevail for the rest of the week, but get ready for more wind. Hey everybody, Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. Today a high of nearly 70 degrees. Southwest winds 10 to 15 will gust as high as 30 miles per hour. A cold front passes overnight tonight, and that'll give us an outside chance for a few showers. An overnight low of 36. 56 is the high on Wednesday, but we'll have gusts once again blowing into the 30s. 59 on Thursday, and more wind on Friday. That's Check Your Forecast.
Right now, as you wake up, get going, we've got south winds at 5 miles per hour. Nice outdoors, 30 degrees at Extreme Sports.
Accessible and affordable holistic care is just around the corner at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. Located at 208 South Burlington Avenue, Suite 101 in Hastings. At Bamboo Spa, we offer a range of therapies to help you unwind and recharge. Experience soothing massages, rejuvenating head spa scalp treatments, and our Advanced Glow 2 facials. Discover the healing power of ozone therapy and frequency healing. Become a member for exclusive 24-hour access to our therapeutic amenities, including the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge. Members enjoy 20% off all services and 10% off products in our non-toxic retail shop. Visit our Facebook page to learn more and book your appointment today. Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center, truly holistic care, designed for you.
I'm John Butler, funeral director and owner at Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center in Hastings.
And I'm Nikki Butler, the Advanced Funeral Planning Specialist. Whether you choose a traditional service, cremation, or a unique memorial service, our experienced staff is here to help guide you through every step. Visit us at lbvfh.com to learn more about our services and how we can support you.
Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center. We are here when your need is greatest.
Hamilton has been providing IT solutions for businesses across the state of Nebraska for more than 3 decades. We know that Nebraska businesses are a driving force of support for the communities in which we live and work. We keep them connected and protected by delivering cybersecurity, hosted phones, and managed IT. We are grateful to be part of our Nebraska communities and to support their technology needs.
More information at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Extreme Sports has been bringing you the exclusive home of Hastings College Athletics, and we're just getting started. Thanks to our incredible sponsors and your support, Extreme Sports 2 has been a huge success. And now we're excited to announce the launch of Extreme Sports 3. With Extreme Sports 3, you'll get even more local sports coverage. Plus, 24/7 access to Sports by Line, where you'll hear the best in national sports talk. Whether it's Hastings College, high school action, or the latest from around the sports world, we've got it covered across all 3 streams. And don't forget, when we're not broadcasting games, join us weekday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for Huddle Up with Mike Will and Tyson Havronik. It's the perfect way to start your day with sports, news, weather, and great local interviews. So tune in, check out all 3 streams, and stay with us for even more sports coverage coming soon. Thank you to our sponsors for making it all possible, and to you, our listeners, for keeping Extreme Sports strong.
All right, Mike Will, Tyson Havronik with you on this Tuesday morning, the 25th day of February, 2025. This is Huddle Up on Extreme Sports. Again, thanks for joining us either on our website at x-streamsports.com, the smartphone with our free mobile app, your smart speaker, Roku TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch. Thanks for joining us. Again, you can chime in on the show if you'd like to phone us. You can. 402-834-1330 is our telephone number, 402-834-1330, or drop us a message on one of our social media sites. I was just looking, we got into a discussion earlier about the Chiefs moving possibly across the river to Kansas. Mm-hmm. The proposed stadium location is out toward the racetrack.
Yep, right on the right by the racetrack where they're building that sports complex.
So, yeah, if you're familiar with that area, which we are.
Which you are, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good area, but I can't see a football stadium there. But
do you make a yearly trek to Kansas Motor Speedway?
For the races, I do.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's a spring event.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll probably do the show from there this year.
And it falls, if I'm correct, like right after...
No, it's about like the second week of May or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like usually Mother's Day weekend.
Nice.
My wife and the people that go along with us, they're really encouraged by spending their Mother's Day at the racetrack.
I bet.
Utah has fired their men's basketball coach, Craig Smith, after nearly 4 seasons. Utes fell to 15-12, 7-9 in the Big Ten after losing to Central Florida on Sunday. Utah beat Kansas and Kansas State in back-to-back games earlier this month. They've also got a win over BYU. Evidently, it's not good enough. Yeah. He leaves Utah with a 65-62 record. He is owed about $5 million from a fully guaranteed 6-year contract that he signed in 2021. The assistant coach moving up to take the reins at Utah, but Utah has fired their head men's basketball coach, Craig Smith, after 4 seasons on the job.
There you go. And, was listening to your sports and kind of a shocker in the top 25. Unfamiliar territory for our Jayhawk faithful as they find themselves on the outside looking in when it comes to being a top 25 program. What, first time since 2021?
Yeah, February 8th of 2021.
Wow.
A streak of like 80 consecutive weeks in the AP Top 25 poll. The Jayhawks, who we have discussed on this show before, they have fallen out of the top 25 now. Here's another interesting note we want to bring up before I get to some comments from Fred Hoiberg. An NFL team, an unknown NFL team, has submitted a rule proposal to ban the tush push.
Really?
Yeah, the quarterback sneak that the Bills are using and the Philadelphia Eagles are using. NFL owners could vote on the proposal next month at the annual league meeting in Palm Beach, Florida, unless the team decides to withdraw its proposal. If the proposal goes to a vote, 24 of the NFL's 32 owners would have to vote in favor for it to pass. So there's a move to disallow the tush push in NFL football. Your thoughts?
Negatively affected Baltimore this season, so are they the unknown team that's proposing this rule change?
Well, Philadelphia beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Could it be Kansas City?
Could be Kansas City.
Anyway, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Buffalo Bills use the tush push quite often. They've combined to run 163 tush pushes. The Eagles and the Bills have scored a touchdown or achieved a first down on 87% of their attempts using the play, while the rest of the NFL has been successful on just 71%. So the Bills and the Eagles know how to use the tush push. And I don't know, your thoughts on that. I've always said the play should be disallowed. Because what it is, if people don't know what it is, you line the quarterback up as a quarterback sneak. Then you've got 2 or 3 guys in the backfield that come in and push the quarterback toward the goal line or toward the first down. I think that's aiding a runner. I think that's illegal. I think it's been illegal since I've first seen that play developed by the Philadelphia Eagles.
But as long as his legs are moving forward.
But most of the times they're not.
The ball's in play. I got no issue with it.
I got
obviously as somebody that's seen it and seen it work for his team and has a offensive coordinator and a coaching staff and personnel in Buffalo that can implement that.
Why do you think that's not aiding a runner? Why do you think
that aiding a runner should be illegal in football?
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
You're still in the field of play. You haven't been brought down.
But you're just standing behind an offensive line in a neutral position, and then you got these 3 big old brutes coming from behind to shove you forward. We're not saying big chunks of yardage. We're just talking 1 or 2 yards all the time. I think that's aiding a runner. That is aiding a runner. If you're stopped, your forward progress is stopped on your own, and you got these 3 big old brutes coming in the backfield to push you forward by a yard, that is aiding a runner. If that's not aiding a runner, what is?
I think if your forward progress is stopped, then the play should be blown dead.
But that's not the case.
It is contingent upon the referee to blow the play dead if your forward momentum has been.
But they don't. They don't.
Stopped.
When they line up in that tush-push formation, they don't. They don't blow the play dead when this forward progress is stopped. They wait until these 3 guys blow up from the back and push you forward by a yard.
But I think your opinion would be slightly altered if your team was benefiting from it.
I know.
Or didn't lose a Super Bowl from it. I think your opinion would be altered.
I don't think
Little
it would.
Little E, he's with me. He said it is as stupid to ban that as it was for Major League Baseball to ban the shift. It's a part of the game. It's a strategy that you can utilize. And as of right now, it's not illegal. But I'm also with you on once that forward momentum gets stopped, once that's halted, that play needs to get blown dead. And in recent years, more than a handful of accounts, I've had a play where I'm like, how is this not blown dead yet? How have the whistles not blown this play to a halt? And we've continued plays a lot longer. I think that could be slightly altered or at least watched more by NFL ref. Make sure that they're blowing those plays to a halt a little bit sooner. But I've got no issue with if your forward momentum is still progressing.
Well, yeah,
having a little extra help.
It's progressing because you got these big 300-pound guys in the backfield pushing you forward.
Yeah, and they're part of 11 guys on the field. You got 11 guys on the field. You utilize them however the hell you want. If it's to get 1 yard to get into the end zone on a 4th and goal,
I don't think aiding a runner should be in the game. Aiding a runner that way. Well, we'll see what the NFL owners decide. That's going to be interesting to watch. They need 24 out of the 32? Yeah, 24 out of 32 owners to pass a rule to ban the tush push.
We got a rules expert. You might know him. Rule 932B, prohibiting teammates from grasping, pulling, or lifting the ball carrier. We're talking about a push. We're not grabbing. We're not pulling him forward. You're not lifting him up into the air.
But you're pushing him forward.
Pushing him forward. That's not in the rule book.
All right. Well, chime in if you'd like. This
932B.
Yeah, look that up if you want. Chime in if you'd like. NFL teams, should we ban the tush push? God, I
also just like saying tush push on
I know. I think Philadelphia used it a time or two in the Super Bowl.
They did.
I was bitching all the way.
But they also, ran the ball directly up the center.
Yeah, I know.
And gashed Kansas City.
But they used the tush push, and that fired me up even more.
It wasn't as if the tush push was the lone reason Philadelphia won that game.
I agree, but I hate that play. And when they ran it, that just fired me up even more. Then I was at the grocery store the other day. God, I was at the grocery store, and I ran in to one of the biggest Philadelphia Eagles fans ever.
Oh, I bet that was fun.
Yeah, and he told me like a week before the Super Bowl that the Eagles were going to kick Kansas City's butt. And, of course, whatever.
Whatever.
And then I ran into him in the grocery store the other day. God, I took crap.
God, you couldn't have, gone to a different aisle.
Well, it was like in the bread aisle, too.
Oh, no way to escape.
So no way to escape. I was in the bread aisle. I was one of those people that was hanging out in the bread aisle that I've been bitching about. I was clogging up the aisle because I was talking to this guy from the Philadelphia Eagles. God, I was sitting there talking about the Super Bowl in the bread aisle.
Speaking of food, speaking of groceries, a couple of celebratory days for food lovers out there today. Clam chowder day today, which doesn't really feel like a good day for clam chowder because it's going to be the warmest
70.
day ever.
Like 70.
So excited. And then we have chocolate covered nut day today. About the only way I can eat nuts is if you cake them in chocolate.
Ryan Martin has chimed in. He says the defense can do the same thing, having linebackers push the line to stop the tush push.
There you go. Seems to be more in favor of the tush push than not.
I just like saying it too. The tush push.
Great. It's almost as great as butt fumble.
Chime in on the tush push if you like on our social media sites. The Huskers last night losing to Michigan 49-46 at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Despite the loss, Husker head coach Fred Hoiberg was behind his team.
I'm proud of the team. I'm proud of the guys for going out there and giving ourselves a chance when you had about as poor an offensive night as you could possibly have. The ball doesn't go in the basket. It's not easy to continue to go out there and have a spirit defensively, but our guys fought like hell all game long to keep us in the game and to give ourselves a chance where we get a great look on a possession where there's under 20 seconds. So, I'm proud of the guys for the way they went out there and fought and battled. And if we play like that with that type of energy, we're going to be fine. We're going to be just fine in these last 3 games heading into the postseason. And that's what we have to understand. That's who we are. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton of shooting on this team, and we have to stay in games and give ourselves a chance with our defense. That's been our identity when we played well. That is what has won us games. So, I think without Bryce and then, Sam goes 2 for 2, we're 5 of 39 with the rest of our team. That's not going to happen, especially when we had some point blank ones right there at the rim, and I thought I had some pretty darn good looks. I'll go back and watch the film, but had some shots from guys that we will 100% take. So, again, if we play with that kind of energy, that type of spirit, we're going to be fine. If we fall off with our energy, we're going to struggle. But we've got 2 days. There's a rule. Some of these rules are just I don't get. But because we stayed over in Seattle, which is the right thing to do on our West Coast trip, we have to take 2 days off. We have to take an extra day. So these next 2 will be off. The guys, I think most will come in and get individual work. That's how these guys are built. And we'll have a 2-day prep for a huge game next Saturday against Minnesota.
And the coach is also talking about the Michigan defense. He says the Wolverines were tough on defense last night.
They did a great job. Give Michigan credit for their plan. Their big was sitting in the middle when you got a 7-1 guy in there that's huge, that protects the paint. When the ball wasn't going in, that floor just shrunk. And, unfortunately, we had one of those nights where, whatever we tried, the ball wasn't going in. And, again, you make a couple of those. Now you maybe get a little bit more driving lanes. But, unfortunately, we just could not make a shot to get Golden out of the paint or get their 5 out of the paint. And, listen, Burke, I know offensively he didn't make a basket, but you see the impact he has on the defensive end. Our rebounding improves with Burke on the floor. Jawan didn't have a great offensive night, but he guarded his ass off out there. So, if we hit a couple of those shots, again, that's going to open things up to get to the basket. And, unfortunately, when we did have looks in there, we didn't make them. And, that we got a little rushed in the first half, going off 1 foot, didn't come in under control. When we did in the second half, we missed them. So, we'll hopefully have a couple great days of preparation going into the next one. That's all we can do. All we can worry about is the next one and put this one behind us.
Yeah, Burke was back after missing 10 days with a foot injury.
You see how important he is to us, being able to guard multiple positions, getting deflections. From an analytic standpoint, it's really not even close. He is our most important guy on the defensive end of the floor. So whether he's making baskets or not, he plays a huge role and a very important part to this team. So, that's to answer your question, Wilson, that was a big part of it, is having Burke back out there to play multiple spots. And listen, you expect he's had one practice where he's had contact. It's going to take a little time to shake some rust off to get his timing back, and it sucks because he just played his best game of his college career, and then he has to sit for whatever it was 10 days. Before he gets back out there. So he'll get his timing back. He'll be fine. But you see the impact he has for this team on the defensive end of the floor.
We'll be fine. Coach says we'll be fine. Patience. 17-11 on the season. The Huskers lose to Michigan last night, 49-46. Before we get into discussion again about the game, what the hell is this rule? The NCAA has. We were on a West Coast road swing to Washington and Oregon, and since we stayed overnight on the West Coast, we got to give up 2 days of practice now this week.
It was the first time I heard it.
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard of that. And we stayed in Seattle on the West Coast road swing, so now we got to give up 2 days of practice. That makes
because you're doing smart things.
Yeah, we're doing smart. What they think we're going to fly home from Oregon and then go back out on Wednesday to play at Washington? What the hell is the NCAA thinking?
Yeah.
Why are they penalizing us now that we can't practice for 2 days because we stayed on the West Coast during our West Coast road swing?
Does it have to do with in classroom time? I'm wondering.
How stupid is that?
I'm playing devil's advocate, and I'm wondering if the more time you spend on the road, you need to equalize that in the classroom, and if that's not a.
I'm sure they were learning on computer
satellite.
They were probably in class that way. How asinine is that rule?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, we're getting off on some tangents today. The tush push, and now the NCAA. How asinine is that rule?
Yeah, then that's what I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into, because as of 7:47 this morning, that was the first time that I'd even heard of that rule. So that kind of caught me off guard, and we'll do some digging and kind of figure out the logistics and the meaning behind it. But I'm assuming it's classroom time.
They were learning by virtual learning like they do all the time anyway. God, that's stupid.
Speaking of the tush push, Mike Lounsbury has chimed in. Keeping the tush push, but he wants to get rid of the gripping gloves. And, I can back that play.
Lounsbury just likes to talk about tush pushes, too.
I think wide receivers right now, God, if I was playing football, wide receiver is the ultimate position. Because you get the grippy gloves, which, listen, I have no hand-eye coordination. I can't catch a football. I could catch 3 passes in the NFL with grippy gloves. I could make that statement and stand by that statement. With grippy gloves, I could catch 3 footballs.
I bet you couldn't.
Put your hand out there and it'll stick right on. I've seen it in action. They're insane.
It wouldn't have to even be in the NFL. You couldn't catch it on a high school field.
You throw me 50 passes with grippy gloves, I'll catch 3 of them.
3 out of 50?
Sure.
You could catch 3 out of 50 passes with grippy gloves?
Yeah. Let's do it. Give me some grippy gloves. Put me on a football field. I'll run some routes again.
I might.
It's been 30 years, but I'll run some routes again.
I might put you on the field for that.
That'd be fun.
I'll find one of the good quarterbacks we got around here.
There you go.
And
use your HC connections.
Oh yeah, there's a couple.
Get me out of
there.
Lloyd Wilson Field.
50 passes, you got to catch 3 with grippy gloves.
He's got to put it on the money though. I'm pretty short, I don't have a whole big window to throw into.
He'll put it on the money.
So there you go. Anyways, but yeah, you've got that. And then the other nice thing about being a wide receiver is if you get touched, it's a defensive penalty.
Usually it is.
For pass interference. So, they have the easiest job in the world. I'll stand by that.
We also met up with Dusty May. He is the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines.
Turn him around.
Yeah, he's a head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, and obviously he was happy with the win last night.
Obviously very pleased to leave Lincoln with a hard-fought road win against a program that we have a great deal of respect for. It was almost 2 teams looking at each other in the mirror. I think we were both determined to take away the other team's leading scorers and go-to guys. And I thought for the most part we did that. Bryce Williams had a heck of an effort, made big play after a hot start. Fortunately, we were able to hold our own on the glass, and we had some odd lineups out late that found a way to function and score enough points.
Yeah, Bryce Williams, 18 points in the first half. He was just 2 of 8 shooting, though, in the second half of play.
For the most part, we tried to deny his catches and push him off his spots more. And because we weren't in foul trouble until late, we were able to do that and not risk. He does a good job of getting tangled up and getting those foul calls. And then I thought our bigs were higher than they typically are on the screens, and we put 2 on the ball and risked those other guys banging in shots. A lot like their game plan on us.
And Dusty May is relatively new to the Big Ten Conference. In fact, I think this was his first trip to Pinnacle Bank Arena. He says he was impressed by the ball.
I thought it was awesome. I walked into Davis shoot-around and thought, wow, this is a great basketball environment. It's well done. And then obviously the fan support and the energy in the building. When they made their run, I don't remember, it was a few minutes into the second half, or it could have even been 5 or 6. It erupted like some of the best environments in our league. We've gotten to that point at Chrysler where our fans have had that type of impact as well. So, it forces you to call a timeout and reset. But it was, I've watched these guys play on television a lot. It's a great environment. There's obviously, a lot of support and energy in the building that it's generated from the guys not on the floor.
All right, that's Michigan head coach Dusty May following their victory last night over Nebraska, 49-46. Always good to get the other side once and see how they feel about the ball game and about PBA and the vault and stuff like that.
Saying that looking at Nebraska was like looking at a mirror image of Michigan, and I'm looking at Michigan as the 12th ranked team in the nation. I mean, that's pretty high praise, man.
Yeah, we'll take it.
But how about this May guy? I mean, he has turned Michigan on its head from where they were a year ago to where they're at now. as kind of the drivers the Big Ten Conference and restoring Michigan hoops again. I mean, he has done a tremendous job, and so full credit. You knew that was going to be a tough game last night. You knew going in that we were going to have to play our best basketball, and obviously if shots fall, I think that game's a little bit different, but full credit to Michigan and saying all the right things. And when you hear it from those who are doing it at the elite level, with the elite programs like a Michigan, when Izzo comments about Hoiberg and how he's running things here at Nebraska, when you're hearing it from the guys that have been doing it for decades, it makes you know that you're going in the right direction. Results, we didn't get the result last night, but we're doing things the right way. I still think we're 3 wins away from being a tournament team, and so keep the foot on the throttle and keep going forward if you're Husker men's basketball.
All right, 7:55, waking up with Mike and Tyson this morning. This is Huddle Up on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
News this hour brought to you by the Hastings Federal Credit Union, where they've been lighting the way to financial success since 1946. You can access your accounts wherever you go with mobile banking, bringing you financial peace of mind straight from the palm of your hand. Securely and conveniently manage those accounts and loans at any time from anywhere. Transfer funds, deposit checks, pay bills with Bill Pay, and quickly access your account balances to help cover whatever little curveballs life throws your way with mobile banking today. One of the many ways you can experience the credit union difference, that's Hastings Federal Credit Union, 707 North Marion Road, or online hastingsfcu.org. Hastings Federal Credit Union is an equal housing lender. We'll start off this morning in the Sandhills, where fires across Custer County sparked yesterday and remained active fire scenes heading into the night, but are under control. Fire crews monitoring and managing the situation to ensure containment. 2 fires had crews on scene through the night, with additional personnel scheduled to return today to continue suppression efforts. Fire departments in Custer County are receiving a much-needed break overnight as neighboring departments, including Grand Island Rural, took over monitoring duties to maintain safety and control. According to the latest from the Broken Bow Fire Department, the Lillian Fire, which was located just north of Broken Bow, had an estimated burn of around 870 acres as of late yesterday. 2 firefighters were also taken to the hospital after their truck rolled during the response. 1 firefighter, transported by Broken Bow Ambulance Service to Melham Medical Center, had been treated and released. The firefighter that had to be transported by LifeNet North Platte to CHI Good Samaritan Hospital in Kearney remains in stable condition and under medical care. No civilian injuries reported with the fires, no evacuations ordered at this time, but the Sandhills area needs to be on high alert. A red flag warning in effect from noon until 7 for areas west of Kearney and north of Interstate 80 with relatively high humidity values, relatively low humidity values and temperatures ranging into the low 70s, wind gusts approaching 45 miles per hour. Those are conditions that will lead to critical fire weather conditions, and any fires that will start will likely spread rapidly and be difficult to control. Coming up on 7:58, we'll swing it back over your way, Mike. What's going down in sports?
Well, the season is over for the Hastings High girls basketball team. The Tigers fought hard but dropped a 56-48 decision to McCook last night in the semifinals of the B7 Sub-District Tournament in Grand Island. Mackenzie Nolette finished with 27 points for the Tigers. Hastings hit 49% of their field goals in the game, but were hampered by 33 turnovers. The Tigers end the season 4-18. McCook will play Northwest in the finals tonight at 6. The Vikings beat Lexington in the other semifinal game last night, 71-35. Tonight, Hastings St. Cecilia will play Palmer in the opening round of the D1-4 Sub-District Tournament at the Chapman Gym. Game time will be at 5:30. Adams Central will play Kearney Catholic in the semifinals of the C1-8 Sub-District Tournament in Holdridge. Tip-off will be at 7:30. We'll have the action tonight on Extreme Sports, beginning with the pregame show at 7:15. That's a check in your sports headlines at 7:58.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
Sunny and warm conditions prevail for the rest of the week, but get ready for more wind. Hey everybody, Tim Jones, Nebraska Weather TV. Today a high of nearly 70 degrees. Southwest winds 10 to 15 will gust as high as 30 miles per hour. A cold front passes overnight tonight, and that'll give us an outside chance for a few showers. An overnight low of 36. 56 is the high on Wednesday, but we'll have gusts once again blowing into the 30s. 59 on Thursday and more wind on Friday. That's Check Your Forecast.
Right now, south winds at 5. We've got clear skies. It's 30 in Hastings at Extreme Sports.
Accessible and affordable holistic care is just around the corner at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. Located at 208 South Burlington Avenue, Suite 101 in Hastings. At Bamboo Spa, we offer a range of therapies to help you unwind and recharge. Experience soothing massages, rejuvenating head spa scalp treatments, and our Advanced Glow 2 facials. Discover the healing power of ozone therapy and frequency healing. Become a member for exclusive 24-hour access to our therapeutic amenities, including the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge. Members enjoy 20% off all services and 10% off products in our non-toxic retail shop. Visit our Facebook page to learn more and book your appointment today. Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center, truly holistic care, designed for you.
Connet Auto Care is the trusted name in automotive repair and maintenance services in Hastings. We're a gold-certified Napa Auto Care Center. Our ASE-certified technicians have the Blue Seal of Excellence, receive continuous training, and are committed to providing the best service your vehicle can get. Whether it's preventative maintenance, major repairs, or just an oil change, Connet Auto Care is here for you.
All right, Mike Will, Tyson Urbronic here on this Tuesday. It's Huddle Up on Extreme Sports. Again, we're going to have a basketball tonight. Adams Central is going to play Kearney Catholic for the second time in just a handful of days. They played I think last Friday in the regular season finale. The Patriots winning by a substantial margin, like 20 points. They'll play tonight in the semifinals of the sub-district tournament. Holdridge is going to play Ord in the other semifinal game tonight. Holdridge, one of the top teams in Class C1. So we'll see what happens tonight. We'll have the action here on Extreme Sports 7:15. Pre-game show 7:30 will be the tip-off tonight from Holdridge.
There you go. On your national TV viewing guide here this evening, as we close in on the last month of the regular season in hockey, we've got some races still to be decided, especially in the Western Conference. Logjam to try to get into the last wild card spot. St. Louis taking on Seattle in a pivotal matchup at 7 p.m. to try to pick up 2 points. You've got the Blackhawks, who the rivals to St. Louis could actually play helper and knock off this Utah hockey club that holds a one spot above the standings over St. Louis. Intriguing matchup with Detroit and Minnesota tonight. Detroit, a much revitalized hockey club. They're taking on a Wild that is still on cloud 9 and holding at 34 wins. All of those matches start at 7 p.m. And then we scroll down on the college basketball side of things. You alluded to them. The number 2 team in the nation, my Duke Blue Devils, they're taking on Miami at 6 on ESPN. And then a whole host of good matchups in the SEC at 8 with Missouri taking on South Carolina. Missouri knocking off Alabama last weekend. And speaking of Alabama, they'll take on 24th-ranked Mississippi State. Those matchups at 8 p.m. on ESPN2. So whatever your flavor, it's a good day for sports. There's Premier League soccer action, hockey action, spring training, baseball, which, by the way, we might get into this tomorrow. Spring training games have lines. They have betting lines.
Really?
The spring training is a practice.
Yeah, you can
bet on practice.
You've really got to want to bet. You're going to bet on the spring preseason baseball game.
You might as well throw a dart at a dartboard and try your luck.
How do you handicap that?
We'll find out. We might get into that discussion tomorrow.
God. All right.
training bets.
Put that at the top of the list. We'll discuss that tomorrow. We had a lot of things we had to talk about today, like the tush push.
Tush pushes.
If you want to listen to a replay of this show, you can. All of our social media sites has a podcast section to them that includes Roku TV. There's a spot there on your app that you can listen to this show again. So if you'd like to listen, or if you missed the show today and like to join us, you can do that. Make sure you're